Hey guys, happy Halloween. Hope you've all been doing well. How am I doing? Um, where to begin? I just sat down. Well, that was weird. No one was there. So last month, I traveled to an undisclosed communist dictatorship, and it was a lot of fun. I saw friends, we met the TikTok otter Tofino, we went to a concert. Are you excited for the concert, Jen?
Yes, she plays hot to go.
Jen, this guy's for that concert. I was gone for about a week, and then when I got back at the start of this month, I got sick. Like, really, really, really sick. And I don't get sick. I'm talking sore throat, no voice, constant cough, choking on phlegm, vomiting, nausea, fatigue, night sweats.
Another club, no sleep, no fear. Nobody believed in me.
It was really bad for like a full 2 weeks, and even today, I still don't fully have my voice back. I actually don't even know what I was sick with. I went to the doctors where they tested me for flu, COVID, and strep. All came back negative, so I can only assume that my other self was abusing the substance again. And I'm glad that my voice is mostly back at this point because I really wanted to put out something horror related in time for Halloween. And speaking of the substance, there have been some great horror movies that have come out this year. You've got Maxine, I Saw the TV Glow, Madam Web, Longlegs.
Open one and then the other, and you're moving just like mother.
I thought it would be fun to sit down and talk about one of these movies for a video. But then when I actually sat down and started writing the script, something dawned on me. As much as I have to say about these movies, and as scary as they may be, the truth is there is nothing more terrifying than the prospects of a second term for Donald J. Trump. Seriously, again? Okay, apparently I have trick-or-treaters trying to prank me, so let me jump in and make this quick. The presidential election here in the United States is coming up on November 5th, literally next week, and we need people to Pokemon Go to the polls. I'm looking at the lighting situation right now. You people are going to call this bisexual lighting. This is not bisexual lighting. It's political party lighting. Try to keep up. According to my YouTube analytics, my audience is predominantly in the US, and most of them are young, which means that you people must think that I'm cool and young and hip. But more importantly than that, it means that for a lot of you, this is probably the first time that you've participated in an election. I know that voting for the first time can be confusing and a little overwhelming, so I want this video to serve as a sort of mini resource guide to help you. And even if you know all there is to know about voting, I would still recommend that you stick around, share this video, like it, comment. It helps me in the algorithm, and that means that more people will be recommended this video, and that means more people are going to go out and vote, hopefully. I'll do my best to not get too into the weeds on this stuff because voting laws do vary slightly state to state, but I'll point out some important nuances when I think they're relevant. If you feel like I've missed anything important, please let me know below. First, let's talk voter registration. In order to participate in an election, the first thing you need to do is register to vote. Now, if you haven't already registered, I'm sorry to tell you that you probably missed the deadline because typically you need to register at least 15 days prior to an election. However, you might be surprised to hear that in some states it is possible to register to vote all the way up to and including on election day. For more information on whether your state allows same-day registration, check the description for a link. And even if your state isn't on that list, check with your local elections office to see if they can make an exception. You might luck out. And if you're not sure if you're registered, there will also be a link in the description for that. I'm going to stop pointing out when there's going to be a link in the description because I'll just be sitting here repeating myself all day. Second, let's talk early voting. Again, you might be surprised to hear this, but you don't actually have to vote on election day. Here in my state, you can vote in person up to 2 weeks before election day. If you live in a state that offers that, please take advantage of that flexibility and vote early. Now, if you don't live in a state that has early voting, what you need to do is make sure you have a plan for voting in person on election day. Again, November 5th. I would encourage you to reschedule any appointments you have that day. This is not the time for your Brazilian wax. Also, make sure you have reliable transportation. If you don't have a car or a bike and public transit isn't an option, see if you can find some friends to carpool with, or convince your conservative relatives that you want to make America great again and bum a ride off them. Now, having a plan to vote also includes making sure that you bring the right documentation. By documentation, I mean voter ID. Voter ID laws vary state to state, but most states require that you have some form of identification in order to vote. Typically, that means your driver's license or some kind of state-issued ID. But some states, like California or New York, don't require any ID to vote. That being said, keep a couple of things in mind. One, even if you do live in a state that doesn't require ID to vote, take your ID with you just in case. The last thing you want is to be confronted by some Karen who doesn't even know the rules they're supposed to be enforcing, asking you for your ID and refusing to let you in unless you show it. And two, if you are refused the right to vote for any reason, including not having ID, you can and should ask for something called a provisional ballot. As for your voting location, like where do you actually go, you should have received something in the mail by now that has that information. But if you didn't, don't panic, you can find that info online. Some states will give you a specific voting location that you have to go to, while other states will have a selection of places that you can pick from. If you're given a specific location, make sure that you go to that one, because you might be refused the right to vote if you show up to the wrong place. But again, I want to stress, if you're refused the right to vote for any reason, and that includes showing up to the wrong place, you can and should ask for a provisional ballot and fill that out. The last thing I want to touch on is that about half of all states have laws that require companies to give you paid time off in order to vote. If you're fortunate enough to live in a state like that, see if you can use those benefits. But if you can't get out of work to vote, don't worry. Head to your polling location when you clock out, and as long as you're in line before the polls close, you're guaranteed your right to vote. And that's really all you need. Now, to make it super simple in just 3 steps, make sure you're registered to vote, make a plan to get to your polling location, and bring your ID with you just in case you need it. Now, I'm not going to say who you have to vote. You know what? Yes, I am. This is my channel. I can do whatever I want. Vote for Kamala. I forgot the last rule of voting, which is that you have to vote for the right candidate, of which, of course, I am the arbiter of truth. Look, I know that there is a small number of online leftists who are saying they won't be voting for Kamala Harris because they think Kamala and Trump are just as bad. And honestly, I'm getting more flashbacks to the 2016 election. I am not saying that Kamala Harris is the perfect candidate. Criticism is warranted. What's happening in the Gaza Strip right now is honestly horrific, and we need an arms embargo. Now, there seems to have recently been some progress made on that front, but this should have happened a long time ago. And also, in a recent interview with Kamala, she was asked if she thinks that transgender Americans should be able to receive gender-affirming care, to which she said,
I believe we should follow the law. I mean, I think you're probably pointing to the fact that Donald Trump's campaign has spent tens of millions of dollars.
They're trying to define you on this.
Yes,
I'm asking you to define yourself, though. Just broadly speaking, what is your value? Do you believe they should have that access?
I believe that people, as the law states.
This answer is a cop-out, and she should be embarrassed. Trans people need legal protections. They need our support, and neither of these candidates are using their platform to advocate for trans equality. And yet, we should keep in mind that Trump is significantly worse on both of these issues. Trump has proposed an Israel-Palestine peace plan, which he only worked with Israeli leaders on. He did not consult any Palestinian leaders, and this plan addresses nothing that Palestinian people actually want. Wow, what a great diplomat. Turns out the best way to handle a compromise is just pick whichever side you like the most and ignore the other one. And on the trans rights front, I mean, do I need to elaborate? Again, Kamala is not a perfect candidate, but the way that I reconcile that is that the Harris-Walz administration could be reasoned with. Yes, it's true, under the Biden administration, progress on an arms embargo has taken too long, but there was progress because eventually they listened to the protesters. Trump, on the other hand, held a 4-year term where he fired everybody who disagreed with him, referred to Black Lives Matter as a symbol of hate, and suggested that protesters should be shot by police. The choice is obvious. But I can't end the video here because YouTube prioritizes long-form content, so now I have no choice but to read you a list of reasons that I will be voting for Kamala Harris. Number 1. Harris and Walz will implement a new $6,000 tax cut in the form of the child tax credit, designed to help families pay for the high cost of childcare in the first year of a child's life. Raising kids is expensive, so honestly, that's a huge win for families. And even if you're a barren, childless cat lady like me, fear not, because, number 2, Harris and Walz are also planning to expand the Earned Income Tax Credit. This would provide individuals and couples in lower income jobs with a tax cut of up to $1,500 a year. Number 3, Harris and Walz, you've got to be kidding me. Number 3. Harris and Walls promised not to raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000 a year. Who is making $400,000 a year? Can you imagine? Get me one of those jobs, am I right? Number 4. According to Number 4. According to their website, the Harris-Walls administration will expand the Rural Partners Network by building on the Biden-Harris administration's pilot program. Number 5. If you're LGBT and none of the words I said make any sense to you, just know that Kamala Harris is a fierce hunty diva who slays boots the house down Versace. Yes, queen. What do you want? You?
No, get those lights off!
What are you doing here? No, I mean, why are you here in my bathroom specific? What is that smell? Donald, did you eat too much McDonald's and break into my apartment to blow ass again? Donald, why are you doing this? Why are you running for office again? Why are you hell-bent on ruining my life? Okay, I can't believe I'm giving you advice, but you really need to stop calling us the radical left. It's making us sound too cool. Radical, cowabunga, dude. And secondly, I'm not buying it. You don't even seem to believe what you're saying. 8 years ago, you told Caitlyn Jenner she could go into Trump Tower and use any bathroom she wanted to, and yet today, you're making trans people enemy number 1. This can't be fun for you. What's the reason behind the reason? Well, that's very sad, but you should probably work that out in therapy instead of ruining our lives for the next 4 years, making incendiary posts about dictators and threatening to send us into World War III. You should not be running for office.
Young man, there's no need to feel down.
No, you know that's a gay anthem, right?
Ice cream yummy. Ice cream good.
You know. Get the hell out of my house. Where's Marianne Williamson when you need her? Look, Mr. Trump, before you go swinging, I know that a lot of people have been saying things about your tiny hands, but I just want you to know I think they're totally normal-sized.